All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Jordan from the Undergraduate Survival Guide podcast. Today we have a good old friend. Went to the same primary school, went to the same secondary school, and yeah, we got a lot of history. But before we go into the depth of today's episode, Sean, tell us how you been coping in lockdown.
Do you know what? Life is normal for me. I've been working throughout. As weird as that sounds, like you'd think, being a trade and that, you'd be told to be home because can't really social distance, but we're still working. So do you know what? I've been fine. Nothing's changed for me. But I know people are really struggling, and I do, not to sound rude, I do kind of laugh because I'm like,
No, I hear that. It's funny seeing guys have nothing to do. It's like, come on, man.
yeah, I mean,
it's quite well out here.
I respect what you're doing because obviously you must have been bored shitless, and you've decided to do this podcast, and I respect that, man. That's why, when you did your first one, was it with Michael? You did your first one.
Michael, yeah, he was the second episode, very early.
Yeah, but mate, I was listening to it and it's cracking me up, man. And I just thought, it's a good way to kill time. I liked it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. For me, it's just like doing anything's better than doing nothing.
Oh,
so
100%.
Why not?
It's like I used to. Well, everyone resents work, the actual act of getting up and going to work for 9 hours a day. But it was something better than just sitting in my bed playing Xbox all day. I felt so disgusting just doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's loads of people feel that way.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because all my friends at uni, it's for the last 3-4 years, there's no real pressure to go in. You have a lecture or whatever, but you don't really have to go in. So you've never developed that, discipline to wake up at 8 or 9 or 6, whatever, going to work every morning. Looking at you, seeing you still have to work through lockdown, it's what the hell? I can't imagine not being in front of my PS4.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because you've been to uni, so you were just saying, you could pick and choose when to. Well, you should have gone to your lectures and that, but you're kind of used to the being in your room, doing your work, doing your stuff. Whereas for me, I'm just when you'd be getting up from, we'll always say 11 o'clock, you'd be waking up.
Yeah, on a bad day.
I would have already been doing 4 hours of work. So for me, it was just it was quite nice to actually still be going to work, because I feel if I had all this time off getting back to work, I don't think I'd have adjusted to that as well as I'm doing now, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think once you get into a bad habit of waking up late, it's so hard to get out of it. Whereas on the flip side, if you're always waking up early, it's a normal thing to have stuff to do in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate time so much more since working, because I'm getting up, or was it 5 in the morning to get to work for 7:30 to start working, and I work till 4:30. And then commuting from London, you're looking, it's hour and a half essentially. So I'm getting in at about 6 o'clock, and I have about 3 hours to myself before I have to start getting ready for bed and then starting the whole thing again. So come the weekend, my appreciation for the time, I get up at 8 o'clock on the weekends just to do the shit I want to do. But I feel if I went to uni, I would end up with probably a really damaged liver and just just waking up at 3 in the afternoon just because I had nothing else to do, as well as needing to do work. I'm not saying no one does their work, but it's mad. I don't know how I would have coped if I went to uni. But yeah, I mean, lockdown has been nice because it has aided, it has stopped me going out a lot, which obviously saving money and my body, but at the same time, it's quite fun just meeting up with the boys, getting pissed like the old days. I say the old days like it's been years, but it's only been a couple months.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, how have you been finding lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, literally it's been podcasts and a bit of uni stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm quite used to staying in. Like, I go out obviously for lectures and stuff, but it's not like I find the time to go out every week. Like, engineering's fucked, man. Very fucked. Like, the amount of work I have is ridiculous.
Yeah, I bet it's fucking long old stuff as well. It's not like 1+1. It's probably like you got letters thrown in there too.
Yeah, I haven't seen the numbers since like year 13.
That's like my sister when she's studying maths, but like she said, she's actually writing essays, and I'm just there going like, but that's not maths. Like she has to prove like why something adds up to something. I was like, oh, can you not just? She has to write like paragraphs on it, and I'm just there. That makes no sense to me.
Proofs are the worst. Like, proofs are literally the worst. Like, why am I proving that 2 + 2 is 4? Like,
Yeah. I mean, she was telling me, she was trying to like revise. So she was like teaching me, like, I think it was like the golden ratio and like why it's like what it is. And I was just saying to her, I was like, I honestly do not understand what the fuck you're talking about right now. Like, this is all just like, you could be speaking French and that would make more sense to me than this. And, and she's now doing a doctorate in it now. So it's like, it's mad.
fucking hell. She must have a death wish.
Well, yeah, I mean, she loves it and hates it all at the same time. But I think that's like most people.
Where did she go again? Is that Royal Holloway or something, right?
No, she went to Exeter.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so she went proper down south. That's going off mental. That's going over there. But yeah, she went to Exeter, and apparently it was like, I think was it the Russell Group? I think it's one of them. So yeah, she was all right for that. I couldn't do half the stuff any of you guys do at uni. Honestly, I couldn't even begin to think.
Nah, it's not as bad as it sounds.
I mean, I guess if you get used to it, you like it's different. But obviously, me working, I was learning on the job, so it's like actually doing things hands on, like getting stuck into it and everything. Whereas, like I'd have help along the way. Whereas I think if I went to uni, it's literally you're by yourself. You have to do all your all your learning by yourself. And to me, that sounds like hell.
Yeah, it is. I think the worst thing the best and the worst thing, I guess, depending on who you are, but the whole independent study aspect,
I couldn't do that. Couldn't do that at all.
Because I think they say for every hour you spend in lectures, it's got to be 2 hours on your own. And that's just ridiculous for some people. Like, if you don't have the organization or I'm not even that, like, it's just difficult in general to go out and keep learning stuff without any help. Like, I don't know how they expect us to do it.
Well, I remember I was listening to one of your other podcasts, and I can't remember who it was, but she was going on about the whole triangle dynamic of like balancing your social life with sleep and education. And like, I remember seeing it I remember seeing that on like Facebook like ages ago, and I never understood that because obviously I've never been to uni. But when you guys were chatting about that, I was just there going like, oh, that actually sounds like a real big problem. Like I couldn't imagine trying to balance everything together, like to get all three balanced, but then you have to have a social life, Bill, and you have to have sleep. But like the education part, that probably takes over both of them straight away.
Yeah, in many ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, like, they say 1 hour of lectures is 2 hours of private study. So if you're in uni for 8 hours a day, That means you got to do 16 hours of private study. That's 24 hours. That's a whole day. They're basically saying to do for uni. If you follow by those standards. And they give that as a metric for like general success, not for like a first class or, doing well. So what they're basically saying is like to do okay, like to get out of uni in one piece, you need to work 24 hours a day.
No wonder why there's so much like mental health like in unis and stuff like that. Like you're literally working yourself into the ground.
Mm.
That's bizarre. And all while doing it, you owe them money. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's the one. Paying $9,000 a year for that.
God, take me money now.
Mad, man.
It's you definitely have to be a certain type of person to go to uni. And yeah, as I keep saying, I'm not that person.
Mm. I know we talked about it a bit before I started recording anyway, but what was your, I guess, final decision and why you decided not to go to uni and to do an apprenticeship instead?
Oh, do you know what? There was loads of them, and I was going on about, I was sitting in sociology and I hated it there because it was just like so much stuff it was like the start of where you had to prove everything, which is partly why I didn't want to, like, that kind of put me off. But it was Miss Armstrong. She was like talking about how if she would do over, she'd do a trade. And the whole time when I was in like them classes, I was just sat there saying like, I might just go away and do a trade. It's probably the best option. And ever since I was young, I've always said like I wanted to be a plumber. Like most kids say they want to be an astronaut, a fireman, policeman. Nah, me, I want to be a plumber. And it got to the point where I was like just saying to myself, I was like, why don't I just go and do that? Why am I wasting my time here? I did a whole year at like sixth form, barely getting by. My results were like 3 C's and a D. I thought, and I was so glad I left that because I was just there going like, if I couldn't have retook a year, I don't want to be there for another year. I hated it. So I think the main thing was, it was just me personally. I didn't suit education. I was really good at tech. Like doing like woodwork and stuff like that. I was very good with my hands.
Yeah,
I started noticing that in like year 7 when we had to make that keyring, and it just came so naturally for me. And I always enjoyed doing like that. And then it kind of just stemmed from it. It was a long time coming, but when you're just so focused on trying to get your grades, it all kind of like just it all blanks out a bit. I think that's the only way I can describe it. So I was just, as I was saying before, I was like just going through the motions, and I think I just got fed up. And I thought, do you know what? This isn't for me. And my mum and my dad were very supportive because they were saying like, we've kind of known all along, like it's not for everyone. And I want to make it clear, like if anyone listens, like, and they're contemplating about going to uni, really like sit down and think if it's the right option for you, because it's a tough decision to make. And if you choose to go to uni and you're not enjoying it, you're just wasting like your life, quite literally.
Yeah.
And it's a scary choice as well, because you obviously at the time you don't know if it's going to pay off or not. But luckily for me leaving and doing this apprenticeship, it was the best decision for my life, like in my life, sorry. And if I go back and do it, I would have just left at the end of year 11. I would have just started it early, and then I would have been better off now. But obviously, I'm quite glad I went to sixth form because it just firmed my decision to do the apprenticeship later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like no like regrets at all leaving.
That's crazy.
I
really do respect apprentices. I feel like you need to be a lot more, I guess, mature in a sense. Because even me, like, I was looking at a lot of engineering options for apprenticeships, and I'm like, you know what? People always say to do uni, so I'm just going to assume that they're right and just follow their path. Like
Mm.
it takes a lot to look at your teachers or your parents and be like, you know what you're saying is dumb, and then kind of create your own path. So I've got a lot of respect for guys like you for taking that step, and then of course for it working out.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, like, yeah, partly what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. But I think parents kind of need to actually talk to their kids about that. Like, I bet there's so many people which, like, their parents pressure them to do stuff, and it's not what they want to do.
Mm.
And if you're just there to please people, that's not a life you really want to be like, kind of going down with. And
Yeah.
it's true what you say. Like, when I did choose to do it, it was like a very like big decision, and I had the support of everything by the teachers, because I'm almost certain schools make money off us going to uni, as in like when they get into uni, because I don't know why they would force it upon every student. But yeah, it's just it was a nice change up as well, because as you said, it's like I became very mature very quickly, like. Arguably, I'd say. Like, if my parents were in the room, they'd probably be a bit like, "Nah, you're still a kid." But like I will tell you a story actually, because at work, the running joke is I'm just an old man, because because I've been working with like people older than me. Like, yeah, isn't that a weird like thing? Like, I work with my workmates, like some of my good mates at work. They're about 3 times my age.
Damn.
And I'm just there going like, I didn't like people at uni have got mates obviously the same age as them, maybe a year younger, a year older. I've got people who are like 60, just about to go into retirement, and I would call them good mates. And yeah, it's just I've lost the train of thought. What was I on about? Sorry, yeah, I'll go off a tangent, mate. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just being mature. There we go. Yeah, being independent is one thing, but I think when you start working and you're paying taxes and everything like that, you start realizing like, oh, fuck, okay, this is the rest of my life now. This is like I've got to start acting my age. I'm not saying that people at uni aren't acting their age, but it's one of them things where I kind of like had to grow up,
Yeah.
because I'm working, I'm paying bills, everything like that, and it's got to happen eventually growing up, and it just so happened I chose to do it then.
Mm-hmm. It's commendable, man.
Mm.
I do think uni presents an opportunity for you to not do anything for 4 years, 3 years, because it's very much like school. It's very structured. You kind of just go in, in the simplest form, you do the lectures, you learn, and you do the exams and you get out. There's no real maturity aspect. I mean, some people live on their own. They have to think about rent and bills and stuff, but for the most part, it's just school, but with a bit more added responsibilities. Whereas work, I can imagine, is a completely different bubble. It's like a whole new set of experiences, skills, and obviously, like you mentioned, friends that are 60 years old. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, honestly, it's a weird one, but like you hear their like all their stories, and that's where I kind of got a lot of life lessons off of them, because obviously they've lived their life. They'll tell you things what you should and shouldn't do. Like, I've got advice about buying houses, like in putting into investments and stuff, and like I'm just going like, oh, this is all quite like useful life lessons. This.
Mm.
Because it's funny, because people at work obviously like they're paying for their kids to go to uni, and this one guy Mark, he cracks me up because he's very literal in what he says. He just says, "I'm paying my kid to go to uni, and I know for a fact all they're doing is getting pissed, getting high, and then not even doing their work until the last minute." While I'm working day in, day out to pay for that. And I'm just there going like, they best get their fucking grades.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guys out there are hurt by that statement.
Yeah, I'm just relaying the message. Don't like hate me. But Yeah, yeah, you hear like some of the, well, I mean, I've gone out on nights out with Shane, obviously, like he'd gone to Brunel,
Mm.
and I remember like just chilling in his room, and I just see all the paperwork everywhere, and I'm just there going like, oh mate, this is just a lot of work. It's like, I'm just at home just chilling, whereas you're probably, well, give it like last year, you were probably just non-stop doing work. Because, you know, you got that fixed that 24 hours and 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, I feel like, I guess it depends on your course, but in some capacity, you're not really working much harder as a student than, like for example, yourself as an apprentice. Like the only difference is you will do your work within a fix, 7:30 to 4:30, whereas a student will go in, for a couple hours and then continue that work at home. I think in terms of like actual workload, I don't think it's that big a deal. But then you can probably talk to this as well, like the point of like work-life balance, and when you get home, it's like putting that to the side and having your own time and space, I guess, to do your own things.
Yeah, and what you're saying is very true, because obviously with me, I've got that set 7:30 till 4:30. That's work. As soon as I leave work, it's my time. Like, I do whatever I want to do. But it's the ability to probably, I'm able to just switch off. As soon as I leave work, I can switch off and not worry about it till 7:30 the next day. Whereas I feel for you guys, it's constantly on the back of your mind. If not, it's like all you're thinking about is like, oh shit, I need to do this, I need to do that. Whereas I can just come home, lay in my bed and do nothing. So I count myself lucky for that.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting, like difference to observe. Because like I feel like some students, if they took uni as a job, and like you got in at 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whether you had a lecture then or not, and you just banged out work until 4 or 5, I feel like a lot of people would get by a lot easier. But then you have that mentality where it's like, oh, I'm not going to go in today, I don't want to, and then you got to catch up, and suddenly it becomes way too much. Like time management is probably the biggest problem for most students, and I feel like that whole having to manage time is really sucked out of you when you're at work and you have fixed hours.
Yeah, I can only imagine, because obviously I've been at work. I went to college like one day a week for 3 years, and that was fine for me. Like, I was able to time manage that because it was just a little bit to do. If I was having to do it constantly as essentially like, well, yeah, it is like a little career for you, isn't it? Like you going to uni is like, it is a job essentially, because you are non-stop working, but you're just not getting paid.
Yeah. You're getting paid in knowledge, they will tell you.
That's a load of bullshit. Whoever's telling you that is just benefiting off of you going to uni. That's all I've got to say for that.
That's a big fact, man.
Yeah. Anyone who's trying to like soften the idea and like make you feel better, they're just doing it to be like, yeah, don't worry about that. Just like keep on going. You're fine. Because they're benefiting.
Yeah. That's all it is, man. That is all it is. I find it interesting though. Like going back to, you mentioned having your, like, guys that worked out way older than you. You kind of, like, similar to that point, you go through school and they literally just say, oh, if you don't apply to uni, you can't go to prom or stuff. But it's like, you guys are the mature ones. You guys are supposedly the ones that know more, that can teach us more.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the dynamic between like being a teacher versus being like a mentor, like a role model or something. And it's like, you don't really get that. Well, at least we never really had that in St. Mark's.
The thing is I'm now getting to the stage where I'm having to teach the apprentices. So, like, I wouldn't say I'm a teacher, but I have to pass the knowledge on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just doing that, I've realised I could not have been a teacher. The amount of time, like, could you imagine, like, you look at, like, the people which we had in our, like, classes or in our school, you would have hit the people, you would have hit the kids. I would have ended up hitting, if any kids started, like, mouthing off to me, I'd end up hitting them, and then I'd be in prison. I'd be like, fuck. But the amount of times I wanted to hit the apprentices, because they're just, I'm telling them, I've told them 5 times, right, cut this bit like this. And then they'll just cut it the complete wrong measurement. I'm like, well, I can't use that now. But it's very hard to, like, I do have a lot, like, I do respect teachers because obviously it is a hard thing to do trying to pass knowledge on to someone if they're not wanting to be there.
Mm.
And, it's just, yeah, I couldn't do teaching. And I feel sometimes even teachers just don't want to be there. But I'm sure you'll remember like loads of like, well, I say loads, you might have known a couple of like St. Mark's teachers, which when you're in their lessons, you're just there going like, you don't want to be here, so why do I want to be here? Like,
Yeah.
You do kind of get off you feed off of people's vibes. So like, if you had a real like charismatic teacher, you'd want to, you'd learn. But if you didn't, you end up just kind of like drifting by.
Mm. Yeah, very much so.
Mm. And I feel it's probably the same for lecturers. Like, if you have a really good lecturer, I bet you like learn off them really easy. Whereas if you had I don't know, are there shit lecturers? Are they?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting in uni because I feel like there are some guys who, the decks, they want to be there, they have a passion for studying or for lecturing, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's especially prominent at Russell Group unis because they're built on like research. And at Bristol, for example, there are some lecturers that are predominantly, primarily researchers, and you can tell they're just, they want to get on with their work. They kind of got to dedicate this hour to use, and they can go back to what they really want. And again, with the whole charisma thing, you can tell when their body language is like, they're kind of looking at the door, looking at the clock. It's like, it's hard to care about what they're saying if you know that they don't really want to be there, or that it's just a career to them as opposed to, a passion or something that they care about.
Yeah. And it shows it. You saying that is very similar to being at work. If I like, when you think it, because there are certain people on site which don't want to be there, and then when you're learning with them, you pick up on their vibe. So you're just there going like, oh fuck work, I don't want to be here. Like, I want to go home. Just like, give me my paycheck, I'm gonna go. But it reminds me because I remember being in a pub one time, and I was chatting to some random lecturer. I think he taught. I think it was like sociology.
Mm-hmm.
No, not sociology. He teaches something, and he kind of went through his like, but he put it this way: it's like education is kind of like a triangle. Like at the bottom, you have such a vast knowledge. Like you're learning your ABCs, your numbers, and everything. Then you go into like year one, that narrows a little bit. You start picking up, like you start like finalizing, like so you start putting them letters into like sentences. You put the numbers into equations. And then he was just basically describing education's like one big triangle, pointing you into like such a fine point of like your learning. So let's take yours. You've done, was it, engineering?
Yeah.
Is it a specific type of engineering?
Engineering maths. It's kind of like general, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's say you've been to like primary school. You've learned all the basics. You then went to secondary school. You then condensed all the things which you've learned in that part into that part more. But then you've kind of cut away when you've gone into the sixth form, because then you're not using all the subjects you've learned in like secondary school. So like, was it you went from, what did you take again?
For A levels,
Yeah.
maths, further maths, physics, chemistry.
Okay. So, I mean, you didn't use drama in them. So that was that gone. You didn't use art. You didn't use PE. So all the stuff you've like kind of done there, it's forgotten. You've made it really hard because everything you've picked kind of like ain't in. But essentially what I'm saying is like he basically was just describing education into one big triangle, forcing you into like such a specific category. If that makes any sense. I probably sound like an absolute bellend for saying it, but the way the guy described it sounded so much better. I got like probably quite pissed, so I probably can't remember the story that well. But when he was telling me, I'm just there going like, whoa, yeah, that's so true. Whoa. But I've now butchered it, so I apologise for wasting 5 minutes.
No, I completely understand you, man. I think, how do I articulate it in a different way? It's like, you kind of learn more and more. Like you start off with, let's say GCSEs, 10 subjects, that goes out to 4 at A levels, and then 1 at uni. And then if you go on to like your sister, you mentioned she's doing a doctorate, like you pick one specific part of that one subject, like you just narrow until you get to this one niche.
And who would have thought climate science is part of maths?
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was, and coding as well. She was telling me how she's doing like coding, and I'm there going like, I used to complain about doing algebra, and you've now got to do like coding. You've got to look at like weather maps and everything, and I'm just there going like, that's bizarre for me, because all I know from maths is numbers and a few letters.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny how like I'd love to know how they teach maths in other countries, because they just teach us like lowest common denominator, like all this stupid stuff that you never actually need. And then day one at uni is like golden ratio explained, and like it's like fuck, man. Like,
yeah. All I know is just some squares and then a curve going around it. Like I can draw the picture, but like trying to explain why that is relative to life or like in the real world, you're just there going like, bizarre. Because it's like the snail shell, isn't it? That's a part of the that's the golden ratio, is it? I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nah, it's just funny, man. What do you think of because you talked about it a bit before anyway, but to explore it in more detail, what do you think of school now that you made it out?
Great learning experience, to be fair. I mean, if I could take anything out of it, it kind of like the education helped me get the job. Like, yeah, I'll get that. But it also, it's very hard to like say bad things about it, because obviously, like, school is good because obviously it's teaching you everything you need to learn for basically getting a job. But then once you get that job, you kind of look back at some of the things and you go, I didn't really need that, and I didn't really need this. But it sticks with you, and it's, yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Something in my eye, one sec. But yeah, I mean, what did you like think of school and that?
Yeah, for me, like, it's difficult because I really enjoyed maths, as you can probably imagine from my A levels, but
Yeah.
my general feeling of school is not overly positive. Like, I feel like the other students, like, guys like you, Michael, all of our group, was great. And I would love being part of A-side, for example, but it's like the teaching, like I mentioned it briefly before, yeah.
Fuck B-side, you bastards.
Fuck B-side, man. I need to get a t-shirt with just saying fuck B-side on it.
Yeah, start making some merch.
Oh, coming soon.
Yeah.
But now, like teachers, I don't really think I was really prepared for the real world. And not even uni, really. Like, I kind of stepped out and it's like, oh shit, now I've got to pay for things. Now I've got to learn on my own. I mean, teachers always told me off for not doing homework, but they never really enforced, like, homework is actually important. It's way more serious than the detention is, like, I don't know, missing a project for work or like, getting a 0. Cause obviously none of my modules that I picked had coursework. It was just like regular homework. So I had no idea that coursework was important until I got to uni and got a 0. I'm like, fuck. Now I've got to retake first year.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I was very ill prepared.
No, but that's how I felt in A level. Like that what you were just describing just then is exactly how I felt in A level. Like I just didn't feel prepared. And that's when I started questioning it. I was going like, if I'm struggling now, but what am I going to be like at uni? I'm not gonna get through. I'm gonna be that guy which is probably like 30 years old, still retaking the first year, and that's just not something I would. I wouldn't want to. Didn't want to risk it.
Mm.
And I was chatting to someone at work, like a couple. I think it was I was second year apprentice. I was chatting to someone, and we had to like read something, and I was reading it, and I was really struggling, like properly, like I couldn't focus like on the words. And at the time when I was at school, people were saying it's like, oh, you're just being like, it's like lazy reading. But when I was chatting to someone, he was like, oh no, my son's the same, and he's like dyslexic. And I was there going like, oh, is this what it is then? And I haven't got it checked because I mean it's pointless me getting it checked now, but I feel that was also another thing which I used to hate, was the fact that sometimes I just couldn't focus in class because in essay, like in the exams, you had like a big old fucking chunk of text to read and my mind just wasn't focusing on it. So that added stress of like just not enjoying like school calls, like it was just, nothing was like clear. Like it all just kind of seemed like, it was like not I wasn't like forgotten, but at the same time, it just, yeah, it's very strange.
Mm. Do you feel like, because you said the word forgotten, it just triggered something in my mind, but because I was always I was somewhat bad behaved, so I feel like I always got a lot of teacher attention. And there are other students that I'm not going to name, but they also worked really hard, got really good grades, so they also got a lot of attention. Do you feel like, because you were never really a bad student, but you also never really got the top grades? Would you feel like they kind of overlooked?
I got gold in math challenge. Thank you very much. Cheers, James, for the answers, by the way. No, genuinely, I was a good, like, I was well behaved. I very rarely got into trouble, although I did fucking like a good chat in class. But that's the only time I'd ever get like told off. But it's true what you're saying, because I was a very average student. Like, I was getting like A's, B's, and C's. All the attention kind of went to the kids which were getting like the A stars, or the ones that were getting really bad grades, like not their like targeted grades. So you're kind of like in that limbo area of, right, you're not needing a lot of help, but at the same time you're not needing the support to do and get like the A stars and that. So we'll just kind of leave you in this little like category of, you're doing fine, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good you actually mentioned that, because it makes a lot more sense that people were aiding like the likes of people like potentially going to Oxford and Cambridge. Like, do you see the amount of help people got when they would like when they were like almost getting the grades to get into them unis? They were like throwing help at them left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
But I mean, some people were gifted with that knowledge, and they didn't need the help. Like, that was just amazing to me sometimes when I saw like how smart some people were. Like, I remember being Mr. Gold's maths class, and I had just got moved up to top set because for some reason Mr. Mitchell thought I was good enough for it. I remember sitting in that class for the first time, and I was just there going like, how the fuck are Michael, Julian, and yourself getting the answers that quick, and I'm still writing the fucking equation out? It didn't compute to me like how different people were like just gifted in their areas.
Yeah, it's mad. I do think top set was nuts. I think with maths in particular, and maybe I'm just biased because I was good at it, but I think there should have been like a set alpha. This is kind of Michael's idea, so I'll give him props for that.
Of course, people came up with the name Alpha.
Yeah, I saw Michael, man. I saw Michael. But it makes a lot of sense when he said it, because it's like, there are some people who are smart that are going to get good grades. But like, as you mentioned, there are some people that are like, have a knack for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that applies for like, for example, Philip with English. Like, he had a knack for just like pronoun, whatever the fuck.
Mate, that guy could write a book I'd just be just in awe.
Literally,
Like,
yeah.
I remember one time that was another thing I never used again, analysing fucking poems. Why was I made to analyse or cross-reference poems? Like, what was the use for that? But I remember being in the class, I think Mr. Monaghan, like, kind of like took his like essay, and I think he analysed a single bullet point and the use of it and how it impacted the poem. And I was just there going like, I analysed why the colour was used red, because it portrayed anger. But he was going about how this bullet point ended the poem beautifully, because it just says that's what happens at the end. And you're just there going like, yeah. It's just, and do you know what? I think I do agree with what you and Michael were saying about the Project Alpha. I did, you didn't see, but I did like finger quotations. But I do agree, because there are, like, as you said, there's certain people who don't necessarily need that, all like the help. Like, you can literally just say, all right, just do this. I'll give you the questions, you work through that. And if you get stuck, just give us a question. Like, if you just took them ones out and put them in, because that happened in primary school. Do you remember in Botwell? Like, if you were like really good at maths and English, there was only about like 6 people, and they got in they were like taken out the class and put into a separate room because they didn't need the help which everyone else needed.
Mm-hmm. That was the gifted and talented.
That's the one, yeah. And I was just sat there making art on paint in ICT, and they're all probably just like analyse. Oh, no, I look back at it, I must have been I thought I was smart, but I'm looking back at it and I'm going, like, oh wow, I did some really, really stupid things.
Nah, some people are just in a different planet, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you see like certain kids, like you see them, they've already got a degree at the age of 14.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck me, like what sort of like, what are you feeding your kids at that age? Like, how would you know that a kid can do like simplifying equations at the age of 5? Like, I could barely do it when I was 16.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
To be fair, I kind of petty that. I mean, it's all good and well to be, quote unquote smart at a young age, but it's like, what does that really do for you? Like, when I was 15, I was like talking to girls, not illegally drinking, going parties and stuff like that. Like, I'd much rather have fun while I'm young than, I mean, maybe it's just me being bitter about not having a degree at 14, but.
No, that's not, I'm with you there. That kid probably had not all the kids that are like gifted in that sense. They've probably not got they don't have like what we've experienced, as in like going out, partying, drinking, just getting like, having like an actual like memories being made. All these kids probably still have some memories, but I feel it's just character building, really, like doing what we were doing, like just having fun. Like, what's the point of living if you're not having fun?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, make it that deep, but that's just. It's why, like, yesterday I met up with the boys, because we've all probably had a shit week, and it was just nice seeing everyone having a good time and everything.
For sure, man. And I feel like, obviously there's a difference between like just out and out taking every day as it is and having non-stop fun and working, but if you can balance that, like I feel like school was very balanced. We messed around a lot. We all learned a lot. We're all better off for it, as opposed to some guys that, because especially like, I'm sure you can speak on this as well, but now that you're working, a lot of the things you learned in school just don't matter anymore. You're never going to be tested on like Pythagoras as a plumber, or like in construction, you're never going to have to know about poems, as you mentioned.
Do you know, the only thing which I've taken from it was, I think, year 11 physics, because we were doing like, because obviously being an electrician, I deal with like volts and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was the only time where I've been like, oh, I actually remember learning this, because being at college, they had to obviously reteach it, but like having that previous, because St. Mark's was a good school for that, because like they taught everything very you had the whole like lessons based on like, okay, V over I times R, or like figuring out like resistance and that. And then when I went to college, I already had that knowledge, so it was that much easier. So I'd say that's the only time where I've actually used like school knowledge, is that and maths, obviously, because doing calculations for like lengths and stuff.
Yeah.
But everything else, like, it's just, I've never used the game.
It's nuts.
I would
Yeah, the
love
working world is funny.
I'd like, as in like, I would not change anything. I loved the banter we had at school. Like the imaginations we came up with, like we created our own like cup games, the John Proctor Cup for PE, like football games. We had A side v B side, literally well, you were the referee, you gave me a yellow. I remember that. I will never forget that.
Next time it'll be a red.
It definitely should have been a red. I was all over him. I fucking pulled his shirt back and everything. I think it was a very lenient yellow, so I thank you for that. But at the same time, don't want a card. But that's the shit which I remember more that from school. It's just all the memories and all like the shit we got up to.
Mm-mm. What would you say was your top memory?
It's got to be Dylan being Gustav Holt. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
mate! I don't understand how that boy wasn't expelled. So he's going into a maths class. Like Mr. Ogan was not a nice maths supply teacher, but the fact that he pretended to be a German exchange student for fucking half hour of I think it was a good 2 lessons or something. He went in there for the first one, and then Miss Kahane was wondering where he was for like the second one, and then she just found him in the fucking classroom pretending to be a German exchange student.
Oh man, that was fun.
That was funny, man. I was so glad I was in that class when it was happening.
It's classic. Because I wasn't even there. I wasn't top set. I just heard about it.
All right, no need to brag.
Awesome. I just can't stop. Every second word in my vocabulary is top set now. But nah, like explain that, because obviously you were there. Like, explain what actually happened for the guys that don't know.
Oh, basically, we had a supply teacher for basically a whole year because our normal teacher was pregnant and she went in it was sort of like maternity leave. So Dylan is he's just a funny guy, and he accidentally walked into our class. Well, he was following us, and I think he forgot it was maths. I think he just kind of followed the class, and then he used to do like the German accent here and there. I'm almost certain, and he just started doing this. He then clocked that he wasn't in the right class, but the lesson was already like 10 minutes deep, and he just started acting on it, like just being a German exchange student. And the teacher was none the wiser. He was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't realise we do this here." And the whole time he was just like, it was just, I think it was funnier because like it was happening to us. Like that probably sounds, it is funny still, but being in that classroom, knowing that he's not meant to be there, knowing the teacher thinks he's German, and us just being kids, like just trying to stop laughing, like all of a sudden. But it was the whole commotion afterwards when Miss Kahane walked, like found him in the classroom and was like, "Dylan!" I swear that kid, that her encounters with Dylan could easily be made into like some sort of show. Honestly, because I'll never forget. It was drama. I think you were A2, weren't you?
In GCSEs, I was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because we had a drama class, and it was like Miss Hutchinson was going on about like trying to portray scary, like fear and that. And I just remember it was the little things he did, and I think the lights were off, and the lights come on, and Miss Kahane was like standing in front of Dylan, and he just screamed, and he went, "It's fucking hideous!" Obviously, the whole class, you could tell Miss Hutchinson was laughing too, but you know, you could tell as the teacher she was trying to be professional.
Yeah,
But it's just
yeah.
little things like that. I have memories of it, and I'm just there cracking up because he also he flipped the bird to Mr. Enright, which is like casually just went "fuck you," and just like kind of like strolled out, and we were just there going like, what just happened? Right, how's he getting away with this?
Dylan was something else, man.
Yeah.
It's because he just didn't care. Like, he didn't enjoy school. He enjoyed school for the people, not for the lessons, I feel like.
Yeah.
And once you're detached from that, like, professional, that schooling environment, it's like, it's just a laugh.
And I think in a weird way, it was needed because sometimes you just needed that little break from just being so serious with education. You did kind of need your Dylans. You needed like just the funny people just to like make the memories, and like it then triggered like it's just good shit when people make you laugh.
For sure. I'll never forget in form time, I think Dylan walked in and his bag knocked over Mr. Longhay's tea or something. Longhay just lost his mind.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I'll tell you what, there's a couple teachers I'd love to see again. Like, I'd love to just like talk to Longhay again, because I know he was a dickhead, but he was like he was strict for the right reasons. But there were certain times when you're just there going like, okay, you didn't really need to shout at me for forgetting a pencil. Like that stuff, I was a bit like, what's the point of that? But I'd love to see Mr. Greensmith again, simply because I mean, for the people that don't know, I used to be a very fat kid, and I remember he forced us all to do a 12-minute run, and I think I did about 4 minutes of it, and I was just like, nah, that's me, I'm done, fuck this. And he went, if you lost weight, you'd be doing a lot better. And yeah, mate, it was brutal. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't think teachers can talk to me like that. But he did, and I just feel like I want to go back to him now and be like, I still can't run 12 minutes. Fuck you. Like, I'm just not built for running. I'd like to thank Mr. Armstrong as well, actually, for giving me like the final figure, being like, yeah, I'll do a trade.
That's a crazy like one liner to remember as well. It's not like I have a dream. It's this, it's like a thing you just say in passing, a trivial quote. Like, yeah, if I could go back, I'd be a plumber. And to have that stick in your mind is crazy.
Yeah, it was mad. 'Cause, like, what teachers would you want to like bump into?
To be fair, probably most of them. I feel like, I mean, I don't know how much you remember of how bad I was in school, but they always knew I had some sort of potential, because I was an idiot. They just never gave a fuck. Like, I got in so much trouble for literally everything. And I feel like, I remember one time Mr. Longhay said, look, if you actually wanted to work hard, you could do well. But because you're an idiot, you're going to get, you're going to be an average Joe the rest of your life. And I remember that average Joe mentality.
Longhay, like, as much as he like shouted at people, he was real. Like, he would just he would talk to you, be like, listen, you've got potential here. Like, just kind of knuckle down and you'll do well. I'd love to bump into Miss Golding.
Miss
You know,
Golding, yeah.
she was the realest, literally the most down to earth person in that school. Like, if you had any troubles, you go to her, and she just kind of made shit like make sense.
Mm. No,
Like,
she was sick.
I think my sister still keeps in touch with her. She has her email.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they keep in touch every now and then.
Do you know if she's still at the school?
I think she is. I think she's still doing the tech bit though, because
Mm.
you know she became like the person in the back cutting up all the materials and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, what's her name? The food tech, Miss McIntyre.
Oh God.
I don't know why, I could never cook.
No, I remember we were making a cheese sauce, and I remember I burnt the fuck of the cheese at the bottom of the pan, and no matter how much soap I put on it, it just wasn't going. And I remember I hid the pan. I literally dashed the pan in the back corner, very back corner. And I just remember she pulled it out and she went, "Who's done this?" I was like, I don't want to say it, but it was me. And she was like, "We're not going until it's done." And I just remember being like, "Oh, I don't know, miss." Just like shit like that. You remember when they just like lost their temper, because it was very rare for teachers to just go ballistic, like nuclear almost.
Literally, yeah.
Because
I remember with her in particular, I was chewing gum one time. And obviously in our school, you weren't allowed to have chewing gum.
yeah,
She caught me chewing it. She's like, "Jordan, come to the front." And cause I had a feeling she clocked. So I like stuck it to the corner of my mouth.
yeah.
The standard trick. I went up to her. She's like, "Open your mouth." I showed her. She was like, "Okay, you can go." And as I'm walking back, I think Brendan was laughing at me. So I just started smiling. And she goes, "Jordan!" I know you was laughing because your ears went up. I'm like, "What?" Like, what the fuck?
Look at that. That's like some mad skills.
Literally,
Jesus.
as I'm facing away, I spit it out quickly because I'm like, "Fuck." Like,
Yeah.
she's on, so I spit it out onto the floor. I go back and get away with it, but I just remember her saying like, "My ears went up." Like, I'm not safe.
Because I remember, for some reason, I put textiles like, because you remember when we got to like, it's year 10 or year 9 where you had to put your list of what you wanted to do for tech in order you want to do, and then they gave it to you. I remember I put textiles last, and Lord and behold, I fucking got it. And I was just like in their class trying to sew, and I mean, I think it was me, Matthew Kegel, Craig Vales. We were the only 3 fellas in that fucking class. And do you know how like weird it is to try and sew and you don't know how to use a needle and thread? I think I pricked my finger like 3 times, like in the first time trying to do it. And I just remember her looking at us. Well, she looked at me, and you know when you can read someone's like facial expressions, and her ones quite clearly went, "Oh my God, like you just should not be here."
Damn.
I'd love to see Taylor again, Mr. Taylor.
Mm.
Oh, boy. He'd just go and it would always be like, "Well, let's play football then."
That's
Every
funny.
single time. And then that birthed John Proctor Cup.
Mm. To be fair, I respect him for letting us play football every time. Even though I would have liked to have known some like actual physical information, like about how my bones work, for example. It was still pretty cool.
It was just, I think it was just one of the ones where you're just like, actually, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a fun day.
I remember so often in between like year 8 and 9, I would always just forget or quote unquote forget my kit. Because I can see them like putting the cones out. I'm like, I don't want to do a 12-minute run. Or I don't want to do a bleep test. I don't want to do long jumps. I'll just like, forget my kit, supposedly. But then from year 10, 11, it was just everyday football. And that was, those were the years.
I mean, my favourite one was when we were doing rugby. Because obviously I couldn't kick a ball straight, but I could play rugby. And we only played it for like fucking 3 lessons. And I was just there going like, what's the point of this? Like, I get happy playing the sport I am actually good at.
and we're not even playing a match. We're just literally just playing touch. And for those that know, touch rugby is just glorified tag or it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, school is funny, man. Do you think, like, I don't know how to ask this, but you've lost a lot of weight. You're doing a lot better now.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen you're looking good on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then do you think in school they kind of treat you differently because you're bigger? I guess in PE in particular.
Yes and no. I say yes because obviously personal experience, whatever, like it would be my point of view. So like whatever was happening, I'd think, oh, it's because I'm big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at the fat kid run 12 minutes. Ha ha ha. But then at the same time, no, because they're just doing their job. That's their curriculum. Like they're just following the thing. So I think it's all just like the point of view. Cause like for the likes of like you, like Ben, Jack, even Michael, like being told to like run 12 minutes, they'll do that like easy. For me, it was a struggle. So I think it all depends on the point of view. Like I never felt like they did it maliciously, but at the time it felt it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because obviously being a big kid was, I think I would never change being fat because I think it made me the person who I am today. I'm very thick skinned. So like at work, you get picked on. So it's like hazing. Like it's like you bully the apprentices essentially. And I remember like, cause I've been growing up being big and that, it was all quite like easy. So like whenever they'd call me fat, I'd be like, haha, original, nice one.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point, there was like 3 points to which I just decided, you know what, I've got to do something. One of which was, there was this guy at work who would take the hazing to a whole new level. And, I remember one time there's basically, have you ever felt insulation like in your walls? Like it's like the yellow stuff. It's really fucking itchy. It's like fiberglass. And he launched a lot of that stuff in the back of my top, and then he tried wrestling me to the ground. And I remember I just spun him and like had him on the floor sort of thing. And I went, do you know what? Nah. And then I just kind of went, I'm not getting bullied my whole adult life. Like fuck that. So that was one of the points. Another one was whenever I went to the fucking doctors, they just went through, like, oh, if you lose weight, that'll take that part away. I was like, I mean, I had just came in because I've got like spots all over my back and I don't know what it is. But yeah, no, if you lose weight, like that and Lord of behold, I lost the weight and they all fucking disappeared. So I mean, the doctor probably was right for half the things.
Crazy.
But I wouldn't change it. I love being fat. Do you know the power you had? Like, no one could push you over. It was just amazing. True. I remember, because obviously Michael was like the strongest in our, arguably the strongest in our year. And I remember one time in PE, he tried like tackling me or something. And I just remember picking him up and literally walking him across the room. And I just remember him going like, you only done that because you're big. I went, oh yeah, you've made a point actually. Yeah. And then, yeah, it was an amazing feeling because I think Michael, if he hears this, he's going to be like, yeah, but he wouldn't do that now. And I'll be like, probably not.
Yeah, we peaked in school, man.
Like I said, I did love school, like, but I didn't savor it enough. If that makes sense. Because I took it way too seriously. Like, when it came to revision, I was like genuinely like revising. I'm not like that kid which is like, I'll just do it the day before. Because it was just like, I wanted to do well. But I look back in and I think, I just wish I just kind of like eased up a little bit and had a bit more fun.
Yeah, I hear that. I think the one thing that I wish I did more in school is not like, I don't know, it's hard to articulate it, but it's like you have your main group and it's quite easy in school, especially in like sixth form. You can probably remember, like, you
Yeah.
have you claim your table, you just stay in your group. Like, I kind of wish I didn't do that as much in school.
And that's what I quite loved about me and Stasio, because we both started in the quote unquote prayer garden.
Mm.
And I kind of had enough of like, because it wasn't so much like, it wasn't so much like you were picked on for being in the prayer garden, but you were kind of like seen as like the outcast. And I don't want to say that in a rude way, but it's how I felt when I was there. And I just
Yeah.
remember kind of like tagging on to like Jack, Ben, Shane and that. And then it just started like broadening, like I just started like mingling with everyone. And I think house parties, you know, like non illegally drinking, just having
Yeah.
house parties was fun because I realized at a very young age that I could down shit really quickly. And that was almost seen as like godly stuff when you're like 16 and just started drinking.
Mm.
Like being able to neck a pint in like 2 seconds and then everyone going like, bah! It was a good feeling. And
Yeah.
that helped. Then I like chatting to people. Like I don't I I don't like it when it's silent. I like talking. I like to get to know people and everything. And you find interesting things out about people.
Mm.
And it's one of the qualities which I like. So that's why I quite enjoyed school, because like what you were saying about being like as they said, like a social butterfly. That's what I was. Like I was never popular. You know that meme on fucking Insta which always pops up every now and then? It's like, I was that kid that wasn't always popular, but everyone knew me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's so many people, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't actually know you were in my year. Like, where have you been, like, all this time?
No, I hear that. I think, to be fair, like, I knew a lot of you guys purely from year 7, 8, H98 days.
Oh, yeah, fucking hell, battling to get on that bus.
Yeah, at the year 7 bus stop. That was interesting.
How annoying was they got rid of that the year we went into year 8. So we
Mm.
had like year 7s coming into our bus stop. I was like, no, fuck off to yours. Know your place. We did
Yeah,
it, you've got to do it.
yeah. Changing that hierarchy was a joke, man.
Oh. Looking back at it, there was actually such a mad like a hierarchy in that, like in school.
Mm.
Because like you obviously had your like your it girls. You know, like when people watch like you know the shitty like chick flicks like Mean Girls. I'm gonna sound stupid saying this, but it's like it actually did exist. Like there were them groups everywhere, and I thought that was just like the American sort of like portrayal of it. But it is. You had your sporties, you had your like stoners, you've had your like it girls, you had your popular kids, and then you had the prayer gardeners, which I quite loved being, to be fair.
Hmm.
But yeah.
I feel like prayer garden got a bad rap, and I don't actually know why. Like, I don't know where the term came from. It's like, oh, prayer garden, whoa. It's like, they're literally the same people that we see everywhere.
Imagine how I felt. I was getting all the stigma, like I was getting all the stick for it, and I honestly didn't know what was wrong. I wanted to sit down during my break, and I wanted to sit on the benches. And by the time we got to the playground, all the benches were already gone, or there was none at all. So I just thought, oh, I'll just chill in the prayer garden. It's fine.
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember, I think I was an instigator, to be fair. I was a dick in school. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna pretend. But nah, I think
I think everyone was a dick at school. Like everyone had their moments of just jumping on the trends. Because
that's very true.
I was guilty for it. I got out of prayer garden and then I started giving them stick for people being in prayer garden. I was like, hey! I was like, Sean, you were just with us like last week. I was like, yeah, and?
That's funny. Oh man. It's crazy though, like, I think no matter what happens in school for like 99% of people, things always turn out pretty well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think from what I've heard, like we bumped into quite a few people actually at Twickenham yesterday and chatting to them. Everyone seems to be like doing well, and it's nice to see like people doing well because like it's like you've only ever seen them in school. It's like yourself as well. Like watching what you're doing is really fucking cool to see. Like seeing everyone kind of like getting that next step, and it's nice to see like everyone growing up.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, it's like seeing like still actually being close mates with like all the boys like Jack and that like the Witten lot. It's nice to still like. I'll put it this way. Basically, if I'm at work, I have that sort of mindset. I have that humour, and like that's what I am at work. But then the moment I go to that group, it takes me back to being in school. Like it genuinely like makes me feel like I'm back at St. Mark's, fucking about, just like having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Those are the vibes you get though. It's like everyone in school, we're all just relaxed, we're all kind of chill. There's never any pressure to like to act a certain way, to perform a certain way. So it's just it's automatically just chill.
The thing I liked about our school as well was, although we were all so different, we were all very similar in the fact that people would just want to have a party. Like no one was just like, no, I don't want to go. Everyone wanted to have a party and just like, I think that's everyone really though. But like I remember chatting to my cousin and like when he went to school, everyone was like having like sex and everything. And when he was like asking me like, what did you guys get up to? It was like, oh, we just got drunk in the park or at house parties. We didn't really, well, I didn't really think about having like doing anything like that. I don't know if the trend sets like that. I might just be the only one, but it's weird when like because that's the other thing. Like I was a part of the consortium, so I went to Gunnersbury in like sixth form, and I remember Josh was also part of the consortium as well because he was doing PE there, and he said when we went to Gunnersbury, oh my fucking god, it was completely different. Like it was just like an animal kingdom. Like it was generally like everyone being in an all boys school with a load of testosterone. It's just going to be like who's going to be the alpha male, and it was so weird because their humour was so different to ours. So I remember being in a class and someone said something, and everyone bar me was like cracking up, and I'm going like, oh, this is obviously an inside joke, not a very good one, but fair enough. But fucking looking back at this shit, man, it's weird.
That's nuts, man. No, I very much see what you're saying though. Like, we could just have fun as a group. Like, there was never, even though there was like I guess subgroups, for lack of a better word, within our year, we all just enjoyed being around each other fundamentally. And I think that's a powerful, like I see guys at uni that if I ask them like, how was school for you? They just have no memories of it. And it's kind of sad. It's like, those are your formative years. Those are the guys that, even though you do make, good long-term friends at uni and at work, like, there's a lot that you can get out of school if you, I guess, do it right.
There's a huge difference between, I find, uni mates and secondary school mates. Like, your secondary school mates are the ones where they kind of like seeing you become who you are. Whereas when you go to uni, they're just seeing you then. So like, it's a whole different friendship, I think. And it's the same at the work lot. Like, I have my work lot, I have my work banter, and then I have my like the boys banter, and it's very difficult sometimes because I remember saying like, do you remember the fucking Jushai language? Yeah. So I remember, I can't remember what was it that was always said. what was the phrase? I can't fucking remember it.
That was a lot.
Yeah. And I remember saying one at work, and I thought it would be like, they'd laugh, and they just looked at me going like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, and I just remember being like, oh yeah, no, that's the other friendship group. But
Yeah, wrong chat, but in real life.
But then I bring back some work banter to the Witten lot and like the Hayes lot, and they fucking love it. Like some of the shit I hear at work, I can't really repeat here, but I just laugh. I honestly just think, how have you thought of that? Oh, what the actual fuck?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, work seems like fun, man. Aside from us, you have to do stuff, but
Oh, mate, honestly, I love being on site. I always said to my mum and my dad, and basically to fucking everyone, was, I didn't want to be in an office. I couldn't be sat at a desk. Like, I wanted to be out, I wanted to be active, like, with my work. And when you're in an office, you can't really well, I don't know, I've never really been in an office, but on a site, you crack bands left, right and centre. Like, you can literally just stop working for about like 5 minutes, have a good chat with someone, and then get back right to it. As long as the work's getting done, you're left alone. And it's, when you're with the right crack of people, it's hilarious, man. And I guess it's probably the same with like uni as well. Like if you got a good little like group and you're going to lectures together, it must be quite fun. Well,
yeah, for sure.
To an extent.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different with uni because like you have an hour lecture, maybe 2 hours, and then you have free time. And then let's say you have a full day, you still have time between lectures to, as you say, like take it 5-10 minutes not doing anything and then get back to it.
Yeah.
Nah, uni's fun.
Well, I do miss it. I say I miss it, but I've never been. I'm saying like I would have loved to experience it because I feel it would have been a good like little thing to like have learned from. But at the same time, I'm glad I didn't go because I don't think I would have just become like an alcoholic essentially. I don't think I would have ended up. I would have probably failed everything and ended up just fucking about too much essentially.
Yeah.
Like I probably would have given beans on toast because I decided to spend all my money on like a new Xbox or a new telly, and then just struggling to get by.
Yeah, that kind of sums up the uni experience.
Yeah, I mean,
I do feel like the biggest lessons, like at least for me, my perspective is like, as I mentioned before, time management and a lot of being independent. Like if you just took a month, you went on holiday for a month, cooked for yourself, went shopping, something like that's basically what you learn at uni, just in a different context.
Well, this is what I'm learning now with my girlfriend Pip. Like, because she's lived alone, she's gone to uni. She went to the same uni as my sister, but she studied psychology, and she when we first got together, she hated the fact that I didn't know anything. I didn't know like how to like work a washing machine. Didn't know how to like do dishes properly. Like I knew how to do them, but I didn't do it properly. But then she's been where like I can cook like meals. Well, I've always been good at cooking. I used to be a fat kid, of course I know. But yeah, it's just like little skills which I'm now learning now. It's so fucking useful. But yeah. It's weird having to learn it now when I could have learned it like if I went to uni.
Yeah. But it is very much like, I guess it depends because you're still living at home. If you are, if you and your girlfriend say moved out this summer, well, maybe not this summer, but sometime when there's no corona, then it'll be different. Then you got to learn all of that kind of to her detriment, which is a bit annoying. And it could, damage your relationship. But like, you're still living at home. You still haven't really got any responsibilities. And as long as you're ready for, your own life when it comes. So
yeah, it's one of the first things which we said. We were said to be like our personal goals, like our careers come first essentially, and we set that up quite early on, which was not like nice because we both kind of shared the same ideas. But yeah, it's true what you're saying. Like it is true what you're saying. It's but oh god, I lost my train of thought. Fuck, second time now. Oh god, I'm not cut out for this shit.
yeah, stick to your day job, man.
Man, I'm good at my job. I fucking love my job. I can.
Oh man. On that note, actually, like, what was your journey like from an apprentice to where you are now?
I was very lucky. I say that to the people I've worked with, sort of thing. Like, I was put on I was very lucky because I was put on a job which had all like the old style stuff to do. So it was like very much like I was on a new job, so I literally started from the start to the finish. So I learned literally everything on that job.
Yeah.
And when I went to the next job, they said, "Oh, do you know how to like bend conduit, which is like a tube? If you ever look into like a shop and that, anything which is like a tube on the wall, that's conduit." And I went, "Yeah, I know how to do that." I was like, "Wait, what year apprentice are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm the first year still." And I went, "How do you know this?" I was like, "Oh, I did it at the other job like all the time." And when I started doing it, there was other apprentices which were like a third year or fourth year, which were still struggling knowing how to do it. So I personally feel because I'm a very hands-on person, I'm very good with hands. I love doing DIY stuff like that. Like I'm very like handy in that aspect. So when I start like learning a new skill, like I just became really good at it, and now I'm doing jobs. Now I'm like qualified. I've now got the respect of like people who taught me and the respect of like the supervisors looking over me, because although I've just qualified, I'm doing jobs where you would normally get someone who's done like 10 years experience doing it.
Yeah.
So right now it's just, I'm putting the foundations down because I'm not going to want to be on the tools for much longer. I'm wanting to be like a supervisor and move up through the offices and that, like be like more management. It's just, you have to do, it's like everything. You have to do the groundwork now to make your life easier later on. And this is what I quite love about the job I do. It's just easy going, and I count myself very lucky with the people who I've worked with, because I was taught by very good people. So yeah, but I did get a lot of stick because I was stuck with these people for like 3 years. But basically, they were my site dads.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a lot of stick for that, and I think that's partly why I get called old at work, because obviously when I was working with them, one was 60, the other one I think was like 40 or something.
How come you're getting stick for that? Isn't that like a smart thing to do? Stick with the guys that know what they're doing.
Mate, honestly, this is what I fucking say to everyone. It's like, I'm not going to go with someone who doesn't know what they're doing. I want the experience. I want to actually be good at my job. I hate it. I hate the idea of someone looking at my work and being like, "Oh, that's a bit shit. Why'd you do it like that?" Like, it's basically, I'm very proud of like the stuff I do, and I think it's a very good quality to have. Once you're proud of like, when you have a bit of pride on how your work looks and how much time and effort you actually put into something, like there's no greater feeling than someone looking at your work and then being like, "Oh, we don't have to touch that. That's done. That's we can now move on from that." Whereas there's some people which will do something, they'll be like, "Oh, can you just go back and change that because it looks shit?" I'd hate someone to go back and change my work. Like it comes back to the whole pride thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think for me,
it's very difficult to try and describe like what I'm doing, because I'll have to go into so much detail. Then that's probably the only time I'll feel like I'm at uni trying to like describe everything I'm doing.
No, that's fine, man.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean, though. Like, when I was, working part-time and stuff, like, you kind of take pride in your work. And it's like, I noticed it when I was working in New Look, for example. There are guys that have been working there for, years and years, and they just don't really care as much. And it's like, once you kind of stop caring, once you kind of stop putting pride into your work, you get disillusioned in a sense where it's like, you don't really enjoy being there anymore. Yeah. And that's when it gets on, because it's like, now I'm dreading work because I don't really like it anymore. It's like, if you just always challenge yourself and like did the best you could, you'd always have that feeling of like, look, I can't wait to get better, or to finish this job, like as in your case, or yeah, I guess there's an element of like, as you said, like taking pride and trying to achieve the best you can. Because otherwise, like, what else are you doing there?
Because that's another good trait to have as well. What you were just saying is like, no matter how good you are, you can still learn. Like, there's still other things to like. You can heighten what you already know and make it that much better, which is what I'm doing now. Like, someone the other day, like, I was doing something, they went, "Oh, why don't you just do it like this?" And then when I did it that way, it was so much fucking easier. And then I was just like, "Oh my god, now I've learned." Like, you're always learning. And I feel like you're saying, like, the moment you start resenting is the moment you start blocking all these like things you see. I've started like put my name forward for doing stuff like, so you're known in the company. So since being with Pip, because she's a PWP, which is a psychological wellbeing practitioner, she deals with like mental health a lot.
Okay.
So I put my name forward to being like it's basically like a mental health first aider, because it's a good thing to have, and it shows that you're willing to help the company a bit more. Same as like doing like your first aid course and everything. It's like it's that bit, you've got that much more skill to kind of put you in front of like the other people on like your company.
Yeah, I feel like anyone, like, I guess first aid is a loose example, but like mental health is something that is such an important thing in any capacity, and just showing that you care. Like, as far as the company's concerned, it's like, look, this is a serious guy. This guy's not fucking about. It's not like just a career to him.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing to say that you can do or can you work towards.
Mate, because the thing is, I don't know about you, but I count myself very lucky because I've never had to deal with like depression and anxiety. The only time the only time I actually knew I had it, well, I have social anxiety. Like, if I'm in a large crowd of people, I suddenly start feeling very like panicky. And I didn't know that was anxiety until Pip explained that to me. So a lot of the time, it's people don't actually know what that have it. And I feel becoming this like mental health first aider would be quite good, because you just need to talk to someone and explain that you're just not alone. Like, and I feel, linking it back to like the whole uni thing, I'm almost guaranteed like people have like stress and anxiety and depression because of uni. And I don't know what unis actually do to try and like sort that out. Like, but I feel this day and age, I'm quite happy that it's making them steps that way, because being on a building site, the mentality is, oh, you've got your shit, keep on going, like just bottle it up and just forget about it. And I'm glad now that people are starting to be like, actually, no, that's not the mindset to have.
Yeah. It's tough because I feel like people always, you have that mentality like, well, everyone's going through something. And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that, what I'm going through is not important, or vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, the thing
people care a lot more now.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a good thing, because Pip was telling me like, you have to start talking about it, because if not, it's just gonna affect you more. So it's like, if any of your listeners are listening, if you are suffering with like shit, talk to someone about it, because if you bottle it up, it's just gonna get worse and it's gonna fuck you up even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do mean to make it another deep bit, but yeah. Sorry, guys.
We've got to re-up our professionalism.
Yeah.
But nah, it's true. And in many ways, like, I learned this at uni, because I was always like, oh, no one really wants to hear. Because someone told me, I can't remember who it was, but we were joking around. I think I was a bit pissed at the time, and it's like, oh, you know, when someone asks you how you're doing, you just say you're okay and then move on, just to like keep the conversation going. And at the time, I'm like, oh yeah, I love doing that, like just saying that things are alright. Yeah, I love glossing over my issues.
Yeah.
But then the next day, I'm like, hold on, that's stupid. Like, people actually do want to talk about what they're going through in life. It's just like, once you break that barrier, once you say, you know, look, oh, I'm actually not doing too well, you know, my friend died or something, it's like, once you break that barrier, things are so much easier. You just feel a lot better afterwards. As long as obviously the other person is not a dick and says, oh, people die all the time, but.
Yeah, no, because, I mean, obviously we sadly lost Patrick like, a couple of years back. And I remember I was at work and I got a phone call with Ben, and he told me, and I was like, oh shit. And I went up to like my supervisor, I've got to go home. Like, I don't want to be here, sort of thing. And he's like, wow, what's going on? I went, one of my mates has just like died, sort of thing. And he went, oh, okay. Yeah. And the thing, they were very understanding, and they basically said, I'm not going to be in tomorrow. And then, okay, no, that's fine. I got paid the day, which is very like unlike them, which was like it felt like you were actually like being understood, and you were actually being taken care of. Because I know there's like loads of people which be like, as you were saying, it's like everyone dies, get on with it. And it was just nice to actually be able to just talk about it, and just actually like have the recognition of like, yeah, no, that's fine, we're here, but like just take your time, sort of thing.
Yeah, because that's the worst thing. I think I was working part-time at the time, and I felt like I was being rushed back to work. It's like, oh, so how are you doing today? I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah, honestly, it's the worst thing. And it's like what you said about the whole thing. Is like when someone says, oh yeah, I'm fine. It's the cover-up of, you're not actually wanting to hear my problems. It's the fear of like someone's just suddenly going like, oh, I just thought you were just going to say I'm okay and then we move on. Whereas like some people genuinely want to fucking talk about it.
What have they kind of trained you for? Because you know you said you're going for the first aid role in the top. Have they like told you how to handle those situations, or is it a bit more like signposting?
It essentially is what I was saying. It's like you just have to be able to let someone just vent to you, like someone just to talk to you, get it off their chest. And if they are feeling like suicidal, you have to, because that was the other thing I found out. In the building trade, electricians are the top five things like which like, electricians come on top of is highest divorce rates, highest alcohol and drug abuse, highest, I think it's gambling addiction, and it's highest suicide rates.
Damn.
Because you're in a very male environment, and it's that stigma of men just hide their feelings. And it's basically the whole thing, the whole premise is, if you're feeling like you need to chat to someone. Because if you don't tell them, how they're going to help you. It boggles me. Well, I say it boggles me. That's quite rude, because some people, honestly, their anxiety is so like bad that they don't want to ask for help because they feel like they're a burden on someone.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's quite sad that people feel that way. Like, not sad as in like, oh, why are they feeling that way? But as in like genuinely, the thought of someone feeling that they can't chat because they're scared of like someone actually like just being a dick almost, like they won't like listen to them. It kind of like, it takes a bit of, like, it makes you question people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not the best person to be talking about this shit. But I know if Pip listens to this, she'll be proud that I mentioned all that shit, because it's very important to actually make people aware that this is, you're not alone and it exists.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man.
Mm.
And I do think, like, as you mentioned as an electrician, like, I think men's mental health is a bit crazy because of the whole, like toxic masculinity, you know, quote unquote. And it's that whole, because even me, like, engineering as a degree, it's like 95% men or something. My course is kind of like 60-40, which is okay, but there's so many guys, and there's always this pressure to like act a certain way, to like not speak on certain issues. And I can definitely see how, you know, those numbers like gambling addiction and suicide are so high, because it's like the general vibe in like a male dominated industry is just, it's nuts.
It's what we said earlier on. It's like, I have my issues, you have yours. Get on with it. The job to be done. Get it done. And it's something which I have witnessed people are now fighting back for, which is lovely to see.
Mm-hmm. Would you say, like, because obviously now are you a senior role, would you say? 'Cause I know you're qualified, but how do they?
I'm newly qualified, so I'm not a senior. I'm basically still new, but I'm the step up from an apprentice, essentially. Like, I have the authority to talk down to them and teach them how to work. Well, not talk down to them in like derogatory, but like as in like help teach them the trade.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got the important role of doing my work. But then the next step up would be then taking on a bit more but taking on more of a role of like a supervisor, which would be like keeping an eye over like a couple guys, making sure the work gets done. So that's a senior role, but I wouldn't say I'm too far off it. I think another year and a half, I think I'll be there. But yeah, it's just taking little steps. Yeah, it's like you got to kind of like go through the motions in order to get where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that. What would be your? I know I'm going to put you in a spot for this question, but like, what's a top tip you would give to a new apprentice or someone considering doing an apprenticeship?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Honestly, the moment you start thinking, "Oh no, I'm not going to bother for help," as in like if you don't understand something, tell me, and I'll make it more easy to understand. Like, I will physically stop what I'm doing and I will show you how it's done. Like, it's a tip for everyone, really. Like, it's not just for people on site. If you don't understand something, don't just try and like figure it out yourself. Ask for help. I think you are more of a man asking for help than trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Or woman, you're more like you. I don't want to just like make it sound like it's a male thing, because obviously there will be other people out there which are the same. Like, they don't want to ask for help because they don't want to seem weak. But it's not a sign of weakness; it's actually a sign of strength. And I've always said that. I said that in the interview, and they loved it when I said that, because the moment you know when you're not strong at something. That's it. Just acknowledge your weaknesses. That's what I couldn't think of the easiest way of saying it. Then.
Yeah. It's about being self-aware.
Yeah, it's like we've all got pros and cons. We've got stuff we're good at. We've got stuff we're bad at. And if you need a bit of help with the bad stuff, then you can help someone with the good stuff. Like it's just how it should be, really. Everywhere, really. If you're good at something and someone's not good at it, and you can see that they're struggling, take a minute, just give them a hand. Like, what is that minute? What a minute for them, like for you, sorry, will save them like hours of work, whether that's in an office or at home or even at work, like on site. Sort of.
Mm-hmm. And even like I've got a slightly different perspective on that as well. It's like, for me, I was always like, as the oldest, I'm always dealing with like all these different issues, and it's like they got to a point where it's no need to ask for help, because I always felt like I was better off on my own, in the sense that I can do it quicker, I can do it my own way, I don't know how to articulate it well, but it's like I've always been put into positions where I've had to solve them myself, so I've kind of become, I've adapted to that mentality. So it's always seemed like, why would I bother asking for help if I know that I can do it myself? But even still, it's like, as you said, a minute for a pro is like an hour for an amateur, and just having that, just understanding that you can just do things so much better. And I think on the topic of, for jobs in particular, it's like, if you're all working together on one project, if everyone's performing better, that works out, that benefits the whole team, as opposed to just the person who's asking for help.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine you get that a lot.
Yeah, it shows a lot as well, because there are certain times where, when I was an apprentice, I'd say to the supervisor, I'll be like, listen, I haven't done this before. Can you put me on that so I can learn how to do it? And he was like, I mean, yeah, we can. I don't see why we can't. And they acknowledged the fact that because I was asking to learn, I was keen. And I feel that really shows, because I remember going to a Christmas drinks on the work do with the work lot, and I had one of the, what was the title he had? Basically, he manages a project manager. There we go. I've never worked with him ever, and he went, "Oh, are you Sean?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How do you know me?" He's like, "Oh no, I've heard great things about you." Like, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, thank you. And then it was only later I found out, like, he wasn't just a project manager. He was like quite high up in the company.
Nice.
And the fact that, like, obviously, like, good news travels fast, but it's nice knowing that people are talking, like, it's the nicest form of people talking behind your back. Like, someone give compliments, which is a nice feeling, but at the same time, I know there's obviously going to be times where people are going, "Oh, he's fucking shit." But I can live with it, because, like I said, I'm still learning, and even when I'm like 40, still doing the same job, there's going to be someone that comes along, probably younger than me. He's going to say something. I'll be like, "Oh my God, that actually makes a lot of sense." Because that's the other thing I'd say. Don't be scared to listen to someone who is not as experienced as you. If someone's like just come into the game sort of thing, listen to what they got to say, because they might actually come up with a better idea.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time it was actually the other week, I was pulling these cables in, and this apprentice I've been working with, he was, I give him stick as a joke, call him useless and that, because that's what I was done. People do that to me. And then he suddenly came up with the idea of like, why don't we pull that one to there? Then we don't have to go through all this trunking sort of thing. And I was there going like, fuck me, mate. Yeah, you're onto something here. And it's just the acknowledgement of like, fuck, I should probably ask people's opinions a bit more, and not try and take all the weight on my shoulders. But then at the same time, like you were saying, like, if you feel you can crack it yourself, I'm not saying like, don't, like, you have to ask for help. If you can crack it yourself, you crack it yourself, go for it.
But yeah, there's always going to be an element of time there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And I think one thing that I learned from like just leadership roles in the past is that you're only as fast as your slowest member, or you're only as, as good as your worst player.
Yeah.
And that's especially prominent when it comes to like guys that never ask for help, and you have to go back over their work a million times. It's like, if I just told you this one time 10 years ago, like,
yeah,
we would have been done.
Yeah, it's weird how such a little thing can have such a big impact.
Very true.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Being an
How
adult.
how are you going to be like, because obviously I know you've been working this whole time all through lockdown, but what's the next step for you?
Do you know what? It's a weird one, man, because I'm now getting to that age where I'm like, I've almost paid off my car. So I'm like, once I've done that, what's the next step for that? And the next step would be like moving out. And, I'm not being funny. Living my whole life with parents, it's a weird step because you want to take it, but at the same time, because you're comfy, you don't want to take it.
Mm.
And it's like, that is essentially the next step is, progressing further with the company and also, moving out, I'd say. What would you say your next steps are?
Probably just, I mean, maybe not the same as getting progressing the company, but, getting a job and of course, moving out. I think it gets to a point where you're old enough now to, like, similar to like taking pride in your work. I kind of take pride in ownership, like having my own car, having my own laptop phone that I bought for myself.
Yeah.
And the last thing I got to own myself is, as you said, like a house.
There is no better feeling than when, like, like I'm paying rent to my parents. Like, it's not a lot, but it's something. And it's quite nice, that feeling that I'm finally able to give money to the people that, like, gave me money when I was young. Like, I couldn't think of, this is what scares me about the whole having a kid thing. Like, my lord, how much money did I drain out of my parents when I was growing up?
Yeah.
Just a black hole, just sucking up all the money. But then at the same time, it feels not, it paid off because now I can now help them, like, pay their bills and that. And it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting you say that. Because I've always been like, as a parent, I mean, maybe because different upbringing and stuff, but I've always been like, it's your responsibility to have, like, if you have a kid, you're kind of signing up for these expenses. Of course, like, I pay rent as well, but I've never felt the pressure of, like, I don't feel good about helping mum. It's like, look, you sign up for this.
No. I mean, I know what you're saying because I sometimes think that as well. Because like when I start feeling bad, I do say to myself, hang on, wait, no, they chose to have me.
Yeah.
They had my sister and then they chose to have me. They knew what having a kid was going to bring. But then I'm there going like, yeah, but that's still they still need the help now.
Yeah, man.
Because that's mad. You know, when you see like people you go to school with and they've got kids now, so it's bad thought.
Yeah, that's a different conversation, man.
That's not really for your student, like for your university thing. Well, I'm just chatting about life.
That's what work does to you, man. But yeah, school, some of the guys in schools, yeah. There are a couple of people that I want to see now. Let me just put it like that.
Yeah, honestly, there's so many people. It's like there's someone that went to our school that's now married. I was just there when I saw that. I was like, man. And I think Michael actually went to the wedding, didn't he?
Yeah, he was there. Shout out to those two, though.
Yeah, congrats for you guys. Yeah, that's mad. It's crazy how I'm going back to the whole thing when you see it on like Instagram and that, and it's like you're at that age now where there's people moving into their own home. There's people like having kids, getting married, everything like that, and then there's just like you just sat here. Like, when I say you, I mean like myself. You're just sat at home scrolling on your phone, just working. It's mad to think how different everyone's like lives have gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating, man. I mean, we're all on our own timelines, but it's like, yeah, it's funny to see because obviously in school you're all at the same level and you're all kind of going the same places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's especially interesting now because you don't see it every day. Like I could see you, year on year, like how you develop. But now it's like I only really see like once a month, and that's through Instagram. Like I haven't seen most of these guys since leaving school.
Yeah, and there's certain people I actually don't ever want to see again. Like I had no ties to them. I was like,
as dickish as it sounds, it doesn't affect me at all. Like if I see you and if I don't. But there are certain people which I'd always want to have in my life and always would like to just bump into every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Just the whole like, it's just weird because you do remember all your schoolmates and that, and it's going back to all the memories and that. It's like when you see someone and you just go, oh, do you remember this? It's like when we're going about Gustav Holt. You just start like, it takes you back. You're there going like, mad, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
It's crazy. I was talking to Josh like on his podcast, and he mentioned having a babysat party when this is all done. That's something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, because that's what we went to one of his parties up in Leeds, and just before the whole lockdown happened. So this was like February, I think. And going up there and seeing how far he's come, mate. Fuck me, it's amazing what he's done. Like it all just started like an idea, and I know that's stupid because everything starts from an idea.
Yeah.
But like he actually acted on it, and that's what I'm saying. It's like the same with you. I have so much like respect for both of you because you both had an idea and you acted on it. Whereas there's some people which would be a bit like, oh, I'll push it back a bit, I'll wait a bit. But now you both like took the dive, and it's paying off now for both of you.
Yeah, execution.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah, that is the key word, and that's a trait I sometimes lack is execution.
It's nuts. I think for me, like, I don't know if this is a useful tip for you as well, but whenever I'm doing something new, I always just say like in my head 3, 2, 1, and then I just do it.
I'll probably count down from 100. I'll dwindle and hope it just passes. But no, I really do sometimes just need to think, hang on, it's going to have to happen. Let's just fucking do it.
For real, man. I can't wait to see the next steps, man. I think you're going to be, by the time I graduate in 2022, you're going to be like a big guy by then. Not physically, but you know what I mean. You have to be specific.
No, I mean, I hope all the best. Like, I don't wish shit on anyone. Like, that's a trait which my parents drilled into me young. Because I never like shit on someone. Like, I hope everyone succeeds. And like, if something doesn't work out in like 2 years for myself, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It might just take that little bit longer. And like you said, I hope I'm successful in 2 years' time. Like, I see myself successful now. I have a job that like in the climate like now, it's mad. Like, unemployment's crazy at the moment.
Yeah.
I've got a job, so I count myself lucky then. And that is, when I say I count myself lucky, I count that as a success. It's a little success, but sometimes little successes lead to like the bigger ones.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's
I'm guilty of
sight. I'm not just spitting. I'm not just like that. Just didn't come up in my head. Then I heard that on site one time. I was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking use that one day.
Still like an artist, man.
Yeah.
But nah, that's something that I'm guilty of that sometimes as well. Like, I deeped it. Must have been about 2 weeks ago. I was like, shit, man. There are so many things that I have now that I never would have dreamed of having in like year 13. And you just gotta count your blessings sometimes because every success should be celebrated.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. What was on Netflix? It's a controversial one. It's Afterlife on like Netflix. It's
Okay.
quite. You've got that Ricky Gervais in it, and there was like a little segment he was saying. It was like you just got, like as you said, you just got to count your blessings. Like what you have now might not be there later. So that, like, just kind of like try and enjoy what you've got when you have it. Which stutter. It hit hard, like when I heard that, because it relates to everything really. Like, because you don't know what's around the corner. Like, did anyone put money on us being locked down for 3 months? No. And if you did, fucking, how much money would you have made on a bet like that? For a global pandemic. Fuck me.
Yeah, for real, man. Just goes to show how random life is.
It really is. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I was meaning to ask you actually, because you asked me what was the most iconic moment from school. Like,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you what was yours, but I completely forgot. So, like, looking back, like, at school, like, what was like your, like, when you look back at school, the first memory that comes to your mind?
Huh. That's tough. I don't actually know. Like, there were so many things flooding into my head that the instant you say that, I think.
Mm.
One of the most iconic, I think, would be when I stabbed Tyler in the head.
Oh my god! Fuck yeah! Jesus. I can't even remember how that happened, but I just remember hearing from the grapevine that someone got stabbed. I was like, what? Was it with was it with a compass?
Nah, let me explain actually. I don't think I ever explained the story. It was.
Yeah,
I
come on,
was
start backpedal now.
It was I think it was Woodtech or one of the techs.
Mm.
And the whole time, this is the first time when Mr. Steed gave us the Stanley knives.
Oh fuck me. Okay.
Yeah, you know where this is going.
Yeah.
But me and Tyler were talking about like knife crime, and like to be fair, it was quite a mad conversation for like 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
How like
But you were 10. But I mean,
literally, yeah. But it's like how deep knives are, and how like if you mistreat a knife, you can like kill someone, stuff like that. This just no talk.
so you fucking stab him in the head to prove a point?
Pretty much, like, because I thought, I was like, because he was scared to use a knife, so he was scared when I was around him.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me prove that I'm a sensible adult with this Stanley knife, right? So I'll pretend to stab him, and I'll retract it, so he doesn't hit him in the head. And I just never retracted him.
Oh no.
Next thing I know, there's that blood everywhere. And it,
It would be, wouldn't it?
he's like right on my shoulder, like, what the hell?
I mean, picture in his head, he's just there going like, we were literally just talking about being like sensible with a fucking knife. And you just, Jesus. Because it was the same with like the soldering irons. Like, I just remember being like, well, how hot actually is it? And I kind of like just, I don't know, I think I poked myself. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's hot. And I was like, just how stupid was I? That's what I mean. I was so stupid in school. But I do you remember when I don't know if basically I think Shane, Rico, and Jamie were all kicking like a bottle about, and I think Jamie then volleyed it, or Shane, and it hit Shane in such a way that it just caused his like eyebrow to just start gushing out blood.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking bizarre because it was like we were all like little kids, like fucking like 14 years old or something, and we're just seeing someone like gushing of blood. Like I wouldn't have known what to do if I actually stabbed someone in the fucking head. Like you just in that moment going like, well, I've just done that shit.
Yeah, we were so dumb in school, man. I like looking back, I don't even remember what happened next. I just remember sitting there with Steed and saying like it was an accident. I slipped. I just came up with the most elaborate lie.
The thing is, even if you told him how it happened, he'd still be like, really though?
Literally, man.
Yeah.
I think I told him like someone left a bag out and I tripped on the bag. And after that, from that lesson, he's like, everyone put your bags under the tables.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. You've probably prevented it in the future.
True.
You've got to kind of
I'm
something positive out of it. I mean, yeah, Tyler's probably got a scar on his head somewhere, but no kid's going to trip over a bag in tech no more.
Very true. That could have been a soldering iron in the eye for all I care. Like, I did the right thing.
So you're saying if you were in the situation, you'd do it again?
Yeah, for the next generation.
Yeah, well, you've heard it here first, guys. You will stab again.
Keep your bags under the tables.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But hey, man, it's going on 4.
Yeah, guys, I think, oh shit, the football, fuck.
Literally, yeah, Man United.
Yeah, Geese. Well, listen, it's been lovely having this chat, man. It's been nice hearing from you.
Likewise, man.
And I hope it's not too much just waffle going on, but I literally, congrats on this, man. Like, well done with like your whole podcast. Like, it's good to see. Good to see.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No worries, Geese. Right, listen, I'll let you get to the football.
Bless, man. Thanks for coming on once again.
Yeah, man, it's been my pleasure. Cheers, Geese.